Welcome to Dominate Real Estate Podcast, the $1 Million Blueprint where luxury meets expertise in the world of high-end real estate. Hosted by Taliya Bashani, top real estate attorney, and Carina Tom, president of New World Connect Title. Stay tuned as we dive deep in the minds of top producing luxury real estate agents, uncovering the strategies, insights, and secrets that have helped them make millions. Get ready to level up your real estate game as we guide you through the latest market trends and the stories behind the most exclusive deals in the industry. This is the place where sophistication and success dominate. And now, recording live from the Hard Rock Hotel in New York City, here are your hosts, Taliya and Carina.
Welcome to Dominate Real Estate Podcast, the podcast where real estate's top performers spill the secrets of their success. Recording live from the Hard Rock Hotel in New York City, I'm Taliya Bashani.
And I'm Carina Tom. And together we bring you the strategies, mindset, and moments that took the industry's most successful agents from open houses to powerhouse closings.
Whether you're an aspiring agent, a seasoned pro, or just looking to level up your game, you're in the right place.
It's time to dominate real estate.
We are excited to welcome our guest, Sara Golan from the Golan team at Serhant. Welcome, Sara, to the show.
Welcome, Sara.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. And there's so many things that we want to just get into with you. But if you could tell me about your journey in real estate, a little bit about your background.
So I started in real estate when I was 19 years old as an assistant to a developer in Queens. Never did sales before, just always on the back end. So I learned a great deal about construction and managing an office. We had an office of 30 agents. Wow. And at 19 years old to kind of be
that's amazing.
First in command after broker. That was challenging, but I learned so much during that time.
That's amazing learning experience.
And that was starting when you were 19 up until now. Tell us a little bit about your transition, because you started working on Ryan Serhant's team at Nest Seekers, and now you have your own team at Serhant, which is a completely different brokerage, and you kind of followed suit. Tell us a little bit how that transition affected your business.
So going back, I didn't start at Nest Seekers. We were a small brokerage. My husband and I, we were small business owners in Brooklyn, New York. We opened an office in Bushwick. And again, I was on the back end of building that office, hiring agents, being part of operations. And we were basically hiring agents that were killing leads. We would buy leads from Zillow and hand them out to agents, and they wouldn't be converting. So I made a very conscious decision. And again, like I see the books. I see how much we're spending and what the expenses are. And I started taking that list and cold calling all those past clients. And I would call them, set up the appointments for those agents, give them the list of properties to show, and then have them do the deal. And it just dawned on me, why am I not doing this as an agent? Right. I'm taking a position where I'm doing the job of an agent, but I'm not getting paid as an agent. I'm a business owner alongside with my husband, and we're building a business. I had no desire to say, I'm going to put myself out there and go sell a property. So it was a personal challenge for me to see that, can I sell one house in my first year doing this? And then I ended up closing about 10 properties that first year.
Wow.
So it kind of solidified the desire to grow and to really acknowledge myself in this business as a real estate agent.
I love that. One of the questions that we always ask is solo or team?
Team. I like the team structure, and going back now to joining Ryan's team while he was at Serhant, that happened very randomly, where we were also developers. We gave Ryan a property to sell, and his team did it in 2 weeks. Wow. Ryan didn't see the property. His team ran the whole transaction, and we were invited to their holiday party. And then I noticed while I was there, here's a broker with a team of 40 agents, and they all have great energy. They're so positive. And I went up, I gave Ryan my business card, and I got an email 5 o'clock in the morning that said, "Hey, Sarah, I want to meet you, and let's make it happen."
Wow.
And just planning that appointment. And it was a little bit nerve-wracking because of Ryan's schedule, but we made it happen. And that first meeting, it was more about who are you? What do you do? We hear so much about you in Brooklyn, and we want you to join. And that turned into 5 meetings with Ryan. And next thing I know, we were closing our small business and we were merging into the Serhant team with Ryan and building out his Brooklyn office.
Oh, wow. So that's when he was at Nest Seekers building his team, or when he started his own shop?
No, at Nest Seekers, building his Brooklyn
Building his
arm.
Brooklyn arm.
Wow.
Got it.
So he needed solid Brooklyn brokers
I see.
to achieve that.
And how many years did you stay there before you transitioned?
So we stayed there from 2017 up until COVID hit.
Okay.
And then when everything shut down, Ryan decided to form his own company. But that was something we saw years before, where he was building out his own infrastructure. And he moves with lightning speed, how he got that all started.
Yeah, and recruited so
Very
many
impressive.
amazing agents, and such as yourself. And it sounds like you guys really it was a firecracker, after that, because then I saw your name popping up everywhere on so many listings, on so many new devs. You're really like the listing queen. So tell us a little bit about how you go about winning all these new dev deals, because a lot of agents in our audience, predominantly start their career working with buyers, which is very typical for a lot of new agents. But sounds like your sweet spot is really working with developers. So tell us a little bit about that and your strategy.
So one of the things that's not well known about us, when I say us, my husband and I, we started so young in the business. And those agents that I speak of when I first started at 19, they all became developers.
Wow.
So the business model back then, it's that you work as an agent, you save your money, and you invest in properties. And you do that repetitively. And so all those agents from 20 years ago, they're all the major developers in Brooklyn. So the relationship has been established. And when I started in sales and they saw us as a team, they like Ryan, they love the TV show and all of that, we started pitching those listings. And when you are a mom and pop, and you don't have a brand behind you, developers are a little bit more reluctant.
They're more leery.
Yeah. Do you have the marketing budget? Do you have social media? Do you have a TV show? No, we don't have all those things.
Right.
But Ryan did.
Yeah.
And so we would book meetings with Ryan and these developers, and it was just like a natural flow of business. And we started booking more and more listings. Prior to that, those same developers, we were selling their properties, but the open listing way, where it's a free for all for everyone, but they trust us because they know when we brought a deal, it closed. It was a deal that's properly vetted with the right partnerships with the attorneys and title company and insurance brokers. Everything, we had the team together.
That's
and
amazing.
so they trust us with their properties.
That's one of the key points, is having the right team behind you. And then the other thing that I love about your story is the journey, right? So starting at 19, I started 18 in the industry. I was a baby, and I've been here for almost 30 years. Don't count my age. But at the same time, though, I love the way it all ties in, right? You were there in the beginning, and these agents, they became developers, and now you're at Serhant, and you can call upon those developers. But the relationship was already established from before then, and that's amazing. It was part of your journey.
It's part of the journey, and I think when you're working in sales, and the commission comes, you also have to know how to budget yourself, how to reinvest that money into yourself. And also, I'm a strong believer that you have to reinvest that money into properties yourself. And you show value to your clients that you've bought and sold properties personally, and you know that journey, and you can handle a transaction and advocate for them and negotiate deals and help them with construction or anything, any facet in that business. You bring all of that to the table as an agent.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your negotiating powers and, then your bargaining position, because, a lot of times in my coaching program, I teach a lot of agents on creative negotiation tools and what it takes to really, meet a certain level of agreement with your client, with your developer, and how you approach those conversations. It all comes down to a strategy, but it's important because the sponsor has a bottom line at the end of the day. How do you discuss price reductions? How do you make sure that they're happy? What if you believe a certain comp, will support a certain sales price, but your developer feels that no, this property is worth $100,000 more, right? So how do you engage and approach those conversations from a negotiation standpoint to still get the price that the developer wants, but knowing that you can actually get it sold?
So I play poker.
Okay.
And I think
for the gamblers.
Gig poker base.
I think every negotiation, you have to handle it like you're playing cards. And again, not showing all your cards and knowing which card is very important. I think when it comes to pricing strategy and negotiating with developers, first and foremost, you have to go in there knowing the market, knowing the comps. And I think that's a conversation that's ongoing, because spring market this year may be very different from next year.
Right.
Correct.
And there are a lot of factors.
Yeah.
And so when when we go into a project initially, and especially from inception, just from floor plans, what are you building, right? And what price per square foot are you trying to achieve? And so we run the models with them and handle all the pricing with them. And then when it comes to the pre-launch phase, we revisit comps on the market and say, hey, I know this is a stretch and you're really pushing for these numbers. Let's give it a few weeks. You want to go with your pricing? Fine, but we're not going to hold that if the market is not where it is. We're going to readjust as we see listing traffic, how many buyers are coming in, how many offers we're getting in. And then we will go back with a strategy and renegotiate pricing.
Okay.
And
great.
most of the time they listen. It's very rare that a seller would say, oh, I spent so much money building a project. I am holding on to this and I'm going to go, break a record. And sometimes we break records. And I always like to under promise and over deliver in that sense, where we know where the market is and just trust our judgment.
Right.
And here's why.
Yes.
And you have to show the research to prove where the market should be in terms of price.
Yeah.
You definitely have it down pat. Good strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with those sponsors who are, bleeding, carrying costs, they're paying the taxes, they're paying the mortgage interest on the construction loan. And at the end of the day, they have to satisfy their construction loan and their payoff, but also they want to turn a profit. So how are they going to satisfy both? So by having a professional such as yourself that can really come in and analyze, the market and the product is so important. So
I think you want to keep your comps high, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of incentives being offered where you're holding your price, but on the back end, you can offer rate buy down, you can offer closing cost concessions, taxes and paying common charges for the buyer or covering mansion tax. So there are various ways that you can go about still holding your price, but giving more concessions on the back end.
Phenomenal. All right. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, everybody. Ari Brody, the mortgage man here from Cross Country Mortgage. So my pet peeve in the mortgage industry is it's the largest purchase of everybody's lives, and it's frequently the most stressful. So my sole objective and my sole job is to provide a super high level of service. Me and my team go out of our way to sit there and make sure this process is as easy and as smooth as we can possibly make it, to take away as much of the stress as we possibly can. My job, my goal is to create raving fans. And my sole objective is to sit there and provide you with such a high level of service, you're going to walk away saying, wow, Ari and his team were freaking awesome. And therefore, you're going to refer me everybody you know, because my business is 100% referral based. We have a lot of programs, we have a lot of products, we have a lot of different ways that we can sit there and take care of you. If you have questions, concerns, anything you'd like to know, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to be a resource and help out any way I can. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care.
Welcome back to Dominate Real Estate Podcast. We have Sara Golan with us today.
Welcome, Sarah. It's been so nice having you on the show today. There is something that we would love to know. How did you bridge into the luxury market? When did you start really going into luxury?
I think that all happened as price points in Brooklyn started to rise. So again, I was working in neighborhoods like Bushwick and Bed-Stuy where the comps were under $1 million. I broke a record in Bushwick and then everything just went up after that. Same thing with Bed-Stuy. But I think when the true luxury market, that all happened when I joined Ryan Serhant. Again, he had the track record of Manhattan selling luxury. And I don't think there's any listing on the planet that we can't pitch at this point, whether it's $200 million, we can go into it. Why? Because we have the resources, we have the marketing, we have a TV show, we have agents that can handle that, the right partnership, and we have Ryan who has a track record. So for me, going into the luxury sector, that happened early 2018. And I also pitched a building on the Upper East Side. Price point there was a $40 million sellout, and something for a local Brooklyn agent to achieve on the Upper East Side.
Yeah,
that's
huge.
something that was a huge deal for me.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that. Very impressive. And what advice would you give for an agent that wants to break into luxury?
I would say learn everything about the luxury sector. Work with brokers in those top tier brokerage. Just have your time or to be associated with a listing like that, it brings tremendous value to your business.
Absolutely. So would you suggest for somebody to, like, if I was an agent, could I call upon you and say, could I follow you around for, like a week or around like a listing that you're promoting just to observe how you go about the whole entire process?
Yeah, we have agents shadow us all the time. We're always mentoring and never afraid to share the business and to share experience with other agents just coming into the market. Not everyone does that, but I think there should be more mentorship in this industry.
I'm a big believer in mentorship. I feel as though in the journey you have this success, but it's not just about saying, oh, I've been 30 years or 20 years in the business. It's also how you're going to pay it forward and sharing with the people that are coming up and mentoring them. Hopefully it'll help them with their success.
I've had brokers, agents that call me while they're at a closing saying, my manager won't pick up the phone and they're cutting my commission. How do I get through this?
Oh, wow.
And that's a big one, right? Yeah. Especially for an agent. You've worked months and months on a deal and then you come to the final closing table and they're saying, oh, we I don't know, they didn't bring enough funds or there's a repair and they need to give a credit for it. How does a new agent go through that process without having someone on their side?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's beautiful that she does that, just pays it forward and says, sure, I'll take the phone call.
Yeah, you're like the advisor.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like it doesn't have to be an agent in our company. I've had agents call from Element. I have a lot of friends at Corcoran, Compass, and they all call like, hey, I want to pick your brain about something. I'm like, sure, I'm here.
I love that.
And an agent should never have to devalue themselves, because I think by holding their worth and maintaining their value, you should never take a commission cut. Your commission should never be on the chopping block, because you guys are really the glue that holds the deal together from start to finish. I tell so many agents that I work with and clients that you guys are like therapists. You work with the client every step of the way, and it is the biggest investment and the biggest, sale that a lot of agents do. And investing in themselves, they should never have to sacrifice, their commission. So, kudos to you for really being an advisor to a lot of those agents and being there for them. Now, we want to hear a little bit about your pitch magic, because you were telling me a little bit outside how you pitched a new client, a new developer, and you just got a call that they want you to send over the listing agreement because they're ready to sign with you. So tell us about how you approach new clients, new sponsors, and what your pitch strategy is.
So again, that was a complete surprise today because I thought that they didn't want to go with us, or maybe they didn't like us or something. But we gave a solid pitch. We gave the comms, we gave the whole marketing strategy, and I followed up and followed up. And I didn't hear back for a couple weeks.
Okay.
They're like, sometimes in this business, you think they're ghosting you.
Yes.
They're interviewing other brokers, and maybe someone said something better than what we said. And so when I got that email today, like, hey, send us a revised agreement, we're ready to sign. It was just like, that's
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's for a boutique condo development in Brooklyn. So yeah. So I think going back to pitch,
Yeah.
a lot of it is research. A lot of it is what value you can add to selling out a building and knowing that process inside and out. New development, it's a very different animal.
Right.
And you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
with those.
I have a lot of agents that I see on social media that always say, oh, I don't prepare a listing agreement. I don't need to bring in comps. I just go in there and I sell myself, to them. And I'm like, well, how do you not prepare a listing agreement? How do you not do the research, and show them everything? Because it takes so much from your marketing strategy to how you're going to sell, how you're going to position the property.
Correct.
So that leads me into, what do you advise for marketing strategies? How do you stay ahead of the game, especially with the future of digital marketing and AI, and really appeal to your audience?
I think what we offer is a very different type of marketing. And I think social media is a very big part. Just last week, I was there filming a property video with Ryan and the designer of the building. So you can go into storytelling, you can highlight the neighborhood and what's up and coming in that space. But I think knowing the project inside out and the finishes and what it has, amenity spaces, we always like to sell buildings that have elevator, doorman, amenities, and these are the things, the attributes of the building that you want to really accentuate when you're telling that story about why buy in this market and in this building. Yeah.
Impressive. Yep. So positioning your marketing and your whole plan. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Sarah. We really appreciate having you on the show today. And for everyone that wants to connect with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
On Instagram, Sara Golan BK, and on LinkedIn, Sara Golan, and by email, sarah.golan@serhant.com.
Love it. It was so nice having you on the show today.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you. We'll see you at the closing table.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. See you next time.
You have been tuning into Dominate Real Estate Podcast, the $1 Million Blueprint, live from the Hard Rock Hotel in New York City, with your hosts, Taliya Bashani and Carina Tom. For more information, please visit our Dominate Real Estate page on Instagram. You can also watch the show across all media outlets, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and more. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, and questions, and please share this show with your network.